All right, we have made it happen, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people hit me up lately saying, Mike, you got to get Robert Whittaker on the show. And man, we made it happen. I appreciate it very much. A lot to discuss with the former middleweight champion of the world. It has been a minute, Robert Whittaker. How are you, sir?
I'm good. It's good to be here.
It's great to have you here. The last time you and I spoke, it was before the Derek Brunson fight. So it's been around 4 years, and I'm happy we could reunite all these years later. But first things first, great win in the co-main event of UFC 254. Very tough guy in Jared Cannonier. You have 2 straight wins now. First off, give us your thoughts on the performance and the kind of fight it was, because obviously the big story became Khabib finishing Gaethje and then subsequently retiring. But your fight with Jared was really fun, really entertaining, and you looked fantastic. What did you think of your performance overall?
Yeah, I'm very happy with it. Me and my team, I have a great team, and we worked a game plan diligently over the weeks and months leading up to the fight. In the fight itself, it worked flawlessly. I had the discipline to stick with it. So I was very happy with the execution of the game plan and my performance as a whole, just in the fight itself. I love to make exciting fights. I love to have fights that are back and forth and exciting and look good. And, I feel that fight ticked those boxes.
Yes, I would agree with that. Jared was landing those leg kicks early on, but you were able to sort of walk through that fire. I thought you won the first round. It was kind of up in the air on Twitter, but third round was wild because you had him badly hurt with that quasi Robert Whittaker-esque combination that always seems to land. This one landed in a big way. I thought the fight was going to be over. The man is able to survive and even had you in some trouble in the third. Are you just like you got to be kidding me right now? How is this man still in this fight right now?
I wasn't in trouble, mate. There was no trouble. It was a resilient guy. I knew he was a resilient guy. I knew he was tough. So I had to temper myself and roll with that when I was in the position of trying to finish him, and then it's a fight. It's a fight. That's what happens. There's ups and downs and flows and ebbs, and it's crazy.
What has been really great to see over these last couple of fights is just how free you are in there, not just in the cage, but out of it. You're marching to the beat of your own drum, so to speak. You're just so happy. You're loving the sport for the most part anyways, more on that in a moment. But what has been the key for you? Because especially during these crazy times, folks need some inspiration, some positivity. How have you been able to get yourself in such a good place these days?
Yeah, I'm very happy where I am right now. A big thing was just decluttering what was up here, just taking everything away, freeing my space, like giving myself a blank canvas, and then just slowly adding things on in an organized way, and just being able to do that mentally has just freed up so much space. Everything feels organized. Everything, it's exactly as you said. I'm marching to the beat of my own drum. I'm doing my own thing. I'm doing what I want. I'm enjoying it, and yeah, I'm in a really good place right now. I guess this whole year, for me in particular, and I think probably for a lot of people, it's just been about soul searching. It's about spending time by yourself. It's about fight. It's about like exploring the inner depths of what you enjoy, what you want to do, how you handle certain situations, why you handled them the way you did. It's When I was working on it was a bit too much, to be honest.
Really?
But here I am, a happy man.
What was kind of the most interesting thing you found within yourself during that time? Because I mean, when you're alone, a lot of ways to think and go down so many different rabbit holes. But what was the thing that you were just like, man, this is I didn't really know this about myself.
Yeah, I'm just a pain in the ass. I annoy myself, so I can't imagine what my wife and kids put up with. I guess like I'm just a little askew from the normality line. I'm just a little off it, and I make myself laugh. That's all it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't be happy around yourself, then. You know what I mean? Especially during this time, you got to be able to be around yourself a little bit. But that great attitude carries over into your post-fight scrum at UFC 254. I loved the coffee over crystals comment. I was cracking up listening to that. But I thought you laid it out perfectly. And listen, you said it best throughout this, and it's kind of created this whole, misunderstanding here. You said essentially, I'm down to fight Israel Adesanya in the rematch of the middleweight title, but I want to have Chris with my family. I have a child that's about to join us in the world. I would like my time to do that. And then in March or April, I'd be happy to fight. And initially my thought was, all right, Robert's going to do that. We got Hermanson versus Till coming up. If the winner of that can turn around relatively quickly, you can do Adesanya versus the winner of that fight, and then the winner can fight you. Might be April, May, June, but that seemed like it would be okay with you. And then on Saturday, Dana White said that you flat out just didn't want to fight Israel Adesanya, and now he's going to go up to 205 and fight Jan Blachowicz for the light heavyweight title, which the timing of that announcement was just so weird to me, Robert. So let me ask you this. Was that fight ever offered to you, like officially? Was there a date attached to it, or did he just completely misconstrue what you said?
Yeah, that fight was never offered to me. There wasn't even talks up in the air. There was no correspondence at all. And I guess that's the most confusing factor, and then the most annoying part about the whole mess is just that there was no discussion, there was no communication, there was no dialogue, and you know that's annoying. He twisted my words around. I think because he had his own designs and the UFC. When I say he, I mean like him and the UFC as an organization. I understand that Dana White doesn't personally want to do things, right? Or maybe he does. Who knows? But I think they wanted that fight. That's a money fight for them. I think that's a fight they wanted to push, and that's the only reason I can see that. The only fight that makes sense for me, and I was very verbal and open about it, is like, I want to fight Adesanya. It's the only fight I want. I just don't want it around Christmas. I have things on, and that was the biggest thing for me after the fight and the conferences and the media and stuff, is just getting my timeline out there, understanding and letting people know that yes, I want this fight. This fight is the only fight that makes sense to me. It's the fight that I earned. The title fight is my right after beating Jared, because that's the type of fight it was. It was a contender fight, so that's the fight I earned. But I have to be there for my family and my kids and my unborn, the newest member that's going to be joining my family in January. That's my biggest, the highest priority right now, is to get my timeline out there, and then I work around that. But it is what it is. I guess we got to wait and see. Right now, I'm sitting at that's the only fight. That still is the only fight that makes sense for me. That Israel fight. That is the fight that I have a right to. That title fight. I guess I fight him at 185, or I meet him up. If he beats Jan, then I go up to light heavy and bash him there.
You mentioned, I mean, you're in a very good place in the sport. You're having fun. You're enjoying what you're doing. But is there like a small part of you when things like this happen that wishes you had any other job on the planet? Because with any other job on the planet, your timeline would not be a problem whatsoever. You would get the time off. They would celebrate it. They would give you everything that you needed. But here, it's a problem for some reason.
Yeah, this sort of stuff just shits me up the wall. Like it is the one part, like it's a part that I do hate about the sport. I hate all these political sort of ploys and plans, and I just hate it. It's such a pain in the ass. Like I'm a fighter. I'm a warrior. You put me up against an opponent. You tell me to fight this guy. I'm happy to do that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a thug. Like I'm not just a dude that wants to go bruising and just fighting people. But like I am a warrior. This is what I do. This is my trade. But I don't like dealing with all that. Like it's very straightforward. It's supposed to be very straightforward. That's why the rankings are there. That's why there's a ladder. That's why it's supposed to be very simple. But it's not.
You made it as clear as day. Like you could not have laid this out any better, Robert. Like you didn't say, I want Adesanya, but you got to pay me $10 million to do it, or the money's got to be right. I want a new contract. I want this or that. You basically said, like, give me Christmas and give me the birth of my child, and then I will fight him anytime you want after that. I don't understand what the problem is here. I don't get it.
Mate, you and me both. You, me, a lot of my fans, a lot of other media, just about everybody else. I don't get it. So, but it is what it is. All we can do is just roll with the punches. I'm still going to enjoy Christmas and the birth of my child, and then worry about the rest afterwards. See what Adesanya and Jan's doing, and take it from there.
How do you think he matches up with Jan? Like the odds have him as a pretty hefty favorite, but Jan's been on a tear as of late, and he's one of the more like underrated fighters in 2020. He just finished Dominic Reyes, which is massive. How do you like Israel's chances in that fight?
I think Jan is one of the most underrated fighters. Like, I think he's a great fighter, but I just don't think he matches up very well against Israel. I think Israel would have to be a heavy favorite. I think Israel, he's a big guy to begin with. He's a tall guy, and he has a very high caliber skill set to fight Reyes. I would have to say, like, Israel's got some of the best striking in the world. He's just, and then you give him the physical attributes he does have, the experience, and I think he beats Jan. But like I said, I think Jan is one of the most underrated fighters in the world, as well as he hits like a truck. That changes fights. We'll have to wait and see.
Sure does. At this point, do you feel like Hermansson and Till, especially if Hermansson wins, like that might be next for you at this point? Like, I know you deserve Israel, and that should be the only fight, but are you even interested in anything else at this point?
There is no fight that interests me other than a title fight of some sort. I've earned it. That's my right. That's the next step for me. That's the interest. Apart from that, not really.
So it's just, I mean, it's not about like staying active. It's give me the title fight at this point. Like, even if you have to wait till like June, July, August to get it, you're fine with that?
Oh, that's a long time. You have to, I don't know, fight for a belt somewhere.
There you go. I mean, well, listen, first things first, your dad role is going to expand a little bit more. Is this going to be number 4 for you?
It is.
Man,
I'm a psycho.
God bless you, man. Is it a boy or a girl? You know yet?
It's another boy. 3 boys and a girl now.
Wow. That's great. Yeah, good for you, man. I have 1, and that's plenty for me, man. Good for you.
Yeah. Two's not so bad. I'll give us a like so. One's a change. 2's not so bad. 3 is devastating, and I assume everything after 3 is just downhill anyway.
Oh, you're totally outnumbered now.
The chaos is fun, but
it is fun. Yeah, once they. When they're babies, they're cute. They don't sleep, but they're cute. And then they start talking, and then they start talking back. And then you're just like, oh, my God. And you have to deal with 4 of them.
They make me laugh. And that honestly is worth its weight in gold.
For sure, man. Last thing I wanted to get to, Anderson Silva may have just had his final UFC fight this past Saturday, finished in the 4th round by Uriah Hall. But man, at 45 years of age, he looked pretty darn good in that fight. Like, physically, he looked like he did 10 years ago. He was very competitive in that fight for a little while until he got dropped in the 3rd round. But somehow the two of you just never had the chance to cross paths in the octagon over the last 8 years since you've been there. So what did you think of Anderson's potentially final fight and what he's done to help make this division what it is today?
We never crossed paths because we're like a decade like difference in age. Like I'm young and going up. He's getting old and down. And like, I don't know how to say that in like a non-insulting way. Like, because I have the utmost respect for him, but age gets everybody. It gets everybody. It doesn't matter how good you look. It gets everybody, and you can see that in him. You can see that his timing's half a second off. He can't take the shots like he could when he was younger. He doesn't hit quite as hard. It's and Anderson Silva back in his prime, he couldn't get touched, and when he got touched, he barely got shrugged off everything. He was unstoppable. He was uncanny. It's but it required the perfect balance of like youth and physical attributes and talent. Whereas now, like his experience and talent is obviously there. You can see that in his fight. That's why he's still competitive. That's why he's still doing so well. But his youth and his physical attributes have declined a little bit. And when you're fighting top caliber dudes, top tier guys, like young, hungry, physical, like look at the specimen of Uriah Hall. Like, you're fighting a dude that is in like the prime of his physical, abilities, and with the talent to go with it. It's scary. He's just gotten old. I don't know if that sounds rough saying it like that, but like he has. Like, what do you want me to say? Like 45 is a new 30. Nah. Nah, dude.
So
not in this game.
Fair to say we won't be seeing you in there at 45.
Hell no. This game is stressful. That's another thing. These guys that fight, like, up and like throughout the late 30s, early 40s, like this game never gets easier. Every fight never gets easier. The stresses and the nerves are always there, like always. I don't know why they just keep throwing themselves into this game. It is crazy, like, in my opinion. I have a soft cap, and I'm going to obviously go on how my body feels. But if I start getting knocked out and start losing, my health comes first. I'm going to just bow out.
Are you just kind of waiting for that, or have you thought about that at all, like time frame wise? Like, just be like, listen, I'm going to do it till here, and then I think I've had enough.
Yeah, I got a soft cap of 35.
Okay.
I got a soft cap. So if my body's really good and I'm still performing and everything's flowing, I'll push it. But if I'm not, then I know there's heaps of other exciting shit I do.
Oh yeah? Like what?
Play with my kids, really.
Yeah, there you go. And that's what's important.
Yeah, and like, if let's say like I'm not performing as well as, touch wood, I'm not performing as well as I want to at 35, then I'm going to be in the prime physique to still run circles around my kids, which sounds like a pretty good gig.
Yeah, that's about as good as it gets right there. So, Robert, I appreciate the time, man. Obviously, kind of crappy situation that you're in right now as the number one guy, and you could be waiting for a little bit to fight for the belt. But last thing on this, because my initial thought when this all went down, I was like, this is Dana White like playing games right now. Like Dana White's trying to get Robert off the couch and being like, you know what? I hear what you say, Dana. I'm going to take this fight right now. I that's what my initial thought was. Do you believe that this fight's going to happen between Adesanya and Blachowicz, or do you think he's saying that to try to get you going here?
It's hard to say, but I'll tell you right now, I'm not fighting before March. Like, I got too much shit on. Like Christmas, and then I got my new baby. Like, there's nothing that'll get in the way of that.
I mean, it's so clear. It's so clear. Like, very few fighters actually lay out an exact timeline of how their next fight's going to go. And you've done that, and you're getting punished for it. But I appreciate you talking all about it, man. It's kind of sucks, but it is what it is, man. Congratulations on the win. Silver linings to end this conversation, and have a great holiday and enjoy the birth of child number 4, man.
No, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be on. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks, man.